Leo, let's not dance around it. Your home is becoming a magnet for wealth, and you can feel it, can't you? There's something in the air right now, subtle but strong. A shift. A pull. It's not just in your head. It's in the way opportunities seem to hover just outside your door. The way old patterns are cracking, making space for something entirely different to take root. And this time, it's not chaos. It's not another test. This is a breakthrough. The final 2 days of September carry a frequency you were born to meet. And not just as a passive observer but as a receiver, a co-creator, a magnetic force who has done the inner work and is now being met with the external reward. We're talking about a portal of wealth, calm power, and radical ease. It's opening in your home, your energy field. Your decisions have already started pulling it in. Now let's be real for a moment. If you're here watching this video on September 29th or 30th, or anywhere near it, this isn't by accident. I don't care what YouTube's algorithm says, something in you brought you here. Something in you was looking for confirmation that the shift you've been sensing isn't just wishful thinking. It's real. And it's happening through you, not to you. Stop for a second and take a breath. Feel your body. Feel the room you're sitting in. What if I told you your environment is already responding to the energetic frequency you've been refining quietly, consistently, and maybe without even realizing it? Think about it. The late-night decisions. The emotional boundaries you held even when it hurt. The patience. The grace. The self-restraint. Those were not wasted efforts. They were investments. And right now, the return is knocking, sometimes in unexpected ways. A financial opportunity. A gift. A conversation. Even a simple moment of clarity that reorients everything. And here's the thing about Leo energy, it doesn't chase. It attracts. It doesn't demand attention, it commands resonance. So if you've been wondering why things feel different lately, why your nervous system both anticipates and resists something new, this is it. You're aligning with what you once thought was out of reach. I want to be clear, this isn't about toxic positivity or fantasy thinking. This is about recognition. It's about honoring that the person you've become is someone who naturally draws in resources, connection, and divine timing, not because you beg for it, but because you finally believe you're worthy of it. So yes, we're talking about money. But it's deeper than that. It's wealth in the form of peace, security, clarity, spaciousness. Your home, the literal place you live, and the energetic space you've built within is no longer neutral. It's charged. It's active. It's working with you. If you feel this message in your body, if something in you is saying, "This is about me," then leave a comment below to confirm it. Let this be your moment of recognition. Speak it into the field. I'm here. I feel it. I'm ready. And before we move into the details of what this window is offering you, let me take a second to thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for every like, every share, every comment that deepens this space we're creating together. Your presence is not just appreciated, it's powerful. It's what makes this message travel to the exact souls who need it. So stay with me until the end of this message. Because what the cosmos is revealing for you right now, Leo, isn't just meaningful. It's magnificent. And I don't want you to miss a single word of it. Now tell me, what brought you here today? What if I told you your home has been listening to you long before you ever realized it? Every sigh you've exhaled into your pillow. Every thought you've whispered under your breath while pacing the hallway. Every silent prayer you offered while washing dishes or watching the light shift through your curtains at dawn. The space you live in doesn't just hold your belongings, it holds your energy. And lately, that energy has been changing in ways that even you might not fully understand yet. You see, everything around you, your favorite mug, the chair you always collapse into, the quiet corner where your thoughts seem to breathe more freely, all of it is soaked in the frequency you've been radiating. And as you've been growing, letting go, softening, claiming more of your truth, that frequency has shifted from survival into something far more magnetic. This is what people rarely talk about when they speak of abundance. It's not only about mindset or hustle. Sometimes, it's about atmosphere, alignment, resonance. Right now, that resonance is reaching a peak. The final 2 days of September aren't just dates on a calendar, theory coordinates. Energetic markers aligned with celestial movement that's not subtle. The waning moon in Pisces is brushing up against your emotional field, calling you to soften your defenses, to listen deeper to the language of intuition. Meanwhile, the sun, your ruling force, Leo, is moving through the second house of your chart, lighting up themes of self-worth, earned income, and the kind of security that can't be faked or borrowed. And Pluto, the great transformer, is beginning its retrograde motion, helping dissolve whatever inner resistance you've had around receiving. And what does this all mean in practice? It means your houses, the literal space you inhabit, is becoming an amplifier. Not just of what you want, but of what you are. You're not being asked to renovate your life overnight. You're being asked to recognize that your energy already lives in the walls. That your transformation isn't something you still have to earn. You've already become the person your future has been waiting for. And now, your home is catching up. Holding space for that identity. Reflecting it. Broadcasting it. If you've ever walked into your home and felt a strange comfort you couldn't explain, or the opposite, a tightness you couldn't quite place, that was the space responding to your energetic state. It mirrors your peace, your readiness, your faith. And this week, it's mirroring something else, your capacity to receive. Not through force, through frequency. In many ways, it reminds me of the principle from spiritual teaching that says, "Where two or more are gathered, there I am in the midst of them." Replace gathered with in alignment, and you start to understand how space and soul begin to co-create. Your home isn't just shelter, it's sanctuary. Not because it's perfect, but because it's familiar with your process. It's witnessed your becoming. It has seen the version of you that stayed up wondering when the breakthrough would come, and it will now see the version of you who lives as though it already has. So no, this isn't about rearranging your furniture or lighting every candle you own. It's about presence, consciousness, intimacy with your own atmosphere. When you stop seeing your space as a background and start seeing it as an ally, everything changes. You begin to feel safe enough to expand, to create, to say yes when the right offer comes, to hold more without tightening or doubting. That's why this week is different. That's why you're here. Because something in your field is shifting from seeking to allowing. And your home is helping you hold the vibration of that shift. Have you ever felt like your home had a personality of its own, like it knew when to protect you, when to push you, when to comfort you? If yes, share it below. Comment and confirm that you feel this alignment happening now. Because the moment you acknowledge it, you give it permission to grow. And what's growing in your space right now, Leo, is nothing short of miraculous. You know that feeling when you finally stop asking, when will it happen for me, and start sensing, deep in your bones, that something has already begun shifting? That's where you are now, Leo. You're no longer in the waiting room. You've stepped into the space where your frequency speaks louder than your efforts ever could. And the universe, in its quiet, intelligent way, has noticed. See, we often imagine money, love, and opportunity as these distant things we must chase or earn. But what if it's not about chasing at all? What if it's about tuning? Like radio waves that only come through when the dial is just right. That's what energy dose it responds to resonance, not desperation. And lately, your energy has been singing a different song. You've softened, even though life gave you every reason to go hard. You've become more selective with your time, your words, your energy, not out of fear, but because you've learned the value of your presence. That shift, subtle as it may seem, sends a signal. And what it tells the universe is, I'm ready now, not just to receive, but to hold what comes. That's a big difference. When I say your frequency has changed, I don't mean it in a vague or fluffy way. I mean your nervous system is no longer operating from a place of lack. You've calmed the noise, stilled the panic, untangled old narratives that told you things had to be hard to be meaningful. And now you're walking in a different energy that doesn't scream, I hope, but quietly states, I allow. That's why opportunities are beginning to knock in unexpected ways. It's not luck. It's alignment. That new contact who just happened to reach out. The conversation that opened a door. The financial shift you didn't anticipate. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations. Because you've become the kind of person life can trust with more. One of the things I've learned in keep learning is that when we operate from fear, even good things feel overwhelming. But when we begin to live from steadiness, we become magnetic. You've done the work. Not always perfectly, maybe not even consciously, but your inner field has changed. You're not trying to prove your worth anymore. You're living from it. And here's the invitation I want to extend to you, Leo, not to do more, but to be more intentional. Choose one object in your home, something that feels grounding to you. Maybe it's a glass jar, a small wooden box, a bowl you love. Write down 3 things you know you're ready to receive, not just wish for, but truly feel ready to welcome into your life. A place to call your own. A new level of financial flow. A relationship rooted in reciprocity. Whatever it is, put that paper beneath or inside the object. And each morning, stand before it and speak, I allow. I attract. I am worthy. This is not superstition. It's energetic clarity. It's focus. It's a declaration not to anyone else, but to your own nervous system, your own spiritual alignment. A way of saying, I'm not waiting for permission anymore. I'm giving it to myself. Because here's the truth, you don't have to chase doors that are already opening. You just have to notice them. You just have to meet the moment with the same quiet courage that got you here. And if a part of you still wonders whether you're ready, that's okay. Readiness isn't a feeling. It's a choice. And you're making that choice every time you show up for yourself. If you feel this shift happening in your own space, your own body, share it. Leave a comment and let it be known. Not for validation but as a witness to your own unfolding. Something powerful is already moving through your life. And your only job now is to say yes. There's something powerful that happens when you stop waiting to be chosen and start realizing you already chose yourself. Leo, you've done that. Quietly, steadily, in moments no one saw and in ways that might never get the applause they deserve. And now, the energy you've put into the world through your integrity, your patience, your refusal to betray your values is circling back. Not as some dramatic event. Not as a fireworks finale. But as a quiet unfolding. A return. We're taught to think that reward comes after visibility. That only what's loud, what's public, gets honored. But the universe doesn't work that way. The universe works on frequency. On consistency. On the weight of who you've been when no one was looking. And you, Leo, have been showing up over and over again for the life you're building. Not because anyone forced you. But because something in you knew, this is who I want to be, even when no one else sees it. Think about the times you stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. The moments you bit your tongue to keep peace. The nights you prayed for strength, not just solutions. These weren't wasted. They were logged energetically. This is what I often describe as the soul's ledger. Not a place of judgment, but of resonance. A place where everything you've sowed in love, in restraint, in quiet effort, eventually becomes the ground from which something stable and beautiful grows. Now, that ledger is turning a page. Not because you begged, but because you've become ready. There's a kind of wealth that doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from standing taller. From owning your journey. From no longer shrinking to fit timelines that don't belong to you. And this week, the energy is perfectly aligned to recognize the frequency you've been holding, one of maturity, depth, and deserving. So what does that look like in practical terms? It means being honest with yourself about where your energy is leaking. Are you still spending emotionally where you should be investing spiritually? Are you overgiving in work situations that don't reflect your worth? Are you holding back in love because you're afraid of being too much? Now is the time to make small but intentional shifts. In your finances, think about where you can create long-term value. Maybe that's setting up a small fund for your future self. Maybe it's learning a new skill that aligns with where you're growing. Not everything has to be a massive leap. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is start small and stay consistent. In your career, be open to the things that are trying to return to you. You might be surprised what comes back when you stop chasing and start choosing. Look out for opportunities that felt unfinished. People or projects that once slipped away may circle back around, this time with a better fit. In love, don't be afraid to speak the thing you've been holding in. You're not too intense. You're not asking for too much. You're just asking for something real. And if that scares someone off, maybe they weren't your person to begin with. In your body, watch for the stress that lingers below the surface. The kind you've learned to ignore, but that shows up in tension in your shoulders or fatigue that never quite lifts. Try magnesium at night. Try quiet walks after sunset. Let your body feel like a safe place again, not a battleground, but a refuge. Remember, choosing yourself isn't loud. It doesn't always feel brave in the moment. But it's the most sacred act of alignment you can make. And when you do, life meets you differently. People sense it. Opportunities respond to it. Your space shifts to match it. So if this resonates, if something in you knows you've been quietly doing the work for a long time, leave a comment below and affirm it. Say it in your own words. Claim it. Because when you acknowledge where you are, you open the door for more. And right now, Leo, that door is already cracked open. All that's left is for you to walk through it. We tend to think of wealth as something measured in numbers, commas, zeros, rising totals in a bank account. But the truth is, lasting wealth begins in energy, not in currency. The richest people I've ever known, truly rich in a meaningful sense, all shared the same core trait. They carried stability in their energy. They moved from clarity. They knew what mattered to them, and their decisions reflected that long before the money ever did. That's what I want you to see now, Leo. Not what you can gain, but what you're already holding. You've been anchoring something powerful without even realizing it, a way of being that is deeply magnetic. And that magnetism doesn't scream for attention, it draws an opportunity naturally, because it's aligned with something real. Think about it like this. If someone handed you 100 billion tomorrow out of nowhere, no strings attached, what would you do? Not for comfort. Not for status. But for meaning. Pause for a second and ask yourself that honestly. What would shift in your choices, your direction, your contribution? This isn't a hypothetical to pass the time. It's a mirror. Because what it reflects back is your current frequency. When you're grounded in your values and clear about your purpose, that kind of money doesn't intimidate you, it meets you. And that's the essence of billionaire energy. Not excess, but capacity. The ability to hold more because you've created space for it emotionally, energetically, and mentally. In numerology, we use prompts like this not just as thought experiments, but as activation points. You can take this further by writing down your answer, one meaningful thing you would do with that wealth. Then, beneath it, write these words: I am a steward of soul wealth. I give, and I receive. This isn't about pretending. It's about preparing. Embodying the version of yourself who already lives with that level of impact and intention. When we think about manifestation, it's easy to get caught up in the how. But energy doesn't follow logic, it follows belief. And belief is strongest when it's practiced, not just spoken. So writing that statement, reflecting on that action, it's not about faking it. It's about inviting it. It's about opening a door in your energetic field that tells life, I'm not just wishing for more. I know what to do with it when it comes. And here's what's often overlooked. Wealth that's rooted in clarity doesn't just change your lifestyle. It shifts your decisions, your pace, your relationships, your health. You stop reaching for what's shiny and start moving toward what's sustainable. You stop performing for approval and start creating from alignment. You don't need to be loud, you just need to be certain. So this practice isn't about playing with fantasy. It's about owning the energetic space you're growing into. Because as the lunar cycle closes and the sun lights up your value sector, the alignment is asking you to show up not as someone who's hoping for a breakthrough, but as someone who is already living as if that breakthrough has arrived. If you've already had a vision while reading this, if something inside you whispered, "This is what I'd do," don't ignore it. That's the language of your future self speaking now. Take a moment, drop into the comments, and share it. Not because you need anyone's permission, but because speaking it out loud, even just in text, locks it into your field. It anchors your intention. This is what it means to lead with energy first. To stop waiting for proof, and start practicing belief. And Leo, the way you show up now quietly, intentionally, with focus is shaping the kind of abundance that doesn't just pass through your life, but stays. Some people chase luck their whole lives, hoping for the right moment to arrive like lightning on a clear day. But you, Leo, you don't need to chase. You were born with a kind of brilliance that doesn't need to beg. And now, something you've long felt but maybe didn't yet name is becoming clearer. You are no longer looking for the moment. The moment is already looking for you. As we move through the final days of September, something rare is aligning. This isn't one of those grand cosmic fireworks kind of alignments. It's quieter, deeper, more personal. It's the kind of alignment that happens when you finally match the frequency of the life you've prayed for, prepared for, and maybe even struggled to believe you deserve. But here's the thing, your energy has already shifted. You're no longer on the outside of the door. You're standing in the doorway, whether you've realized it or not. There's something powerful in letting go of the idea that you have to push for everything that comes your way. It doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming magnetic. When you stop trying to force the timing or manipulate the outcome, you give space for grace to enter. And this kind of graceit shows up through small, unexpected moments. A surprise refund. A collaboration offer you didn't expect. A message from someone you thought had forgotten you. These are not just coincidences. They're echoes of your readiness. I want to speak plainly here, because I know how easy it is to doubt yourself when things have been hard. But this moment isn't about how hard you've worked, it's about how ready you've become. You've become a safe place for abundance to land, not because you've hustled harder than everyone else, but because you've softened where others have hardened. You've remained open when life gave you every reason to shut down. And the universe honors that. When you say, "I am the living magnet of aligned wealth," you're not making a demand. You're making a declaration. You're saying to life, "I'm here now. I've done the work within. I trust what comes next." That's what the law of attraction was always meant to be, not a wish list, but a vibration you live from. A steadiness. A quiet knowing that says, if it's mine, it knows how to find me. I don't need to scream. I just need to stay open. This is how money begins to choose you. This is how the right opportunities recognize your energy and make their way into your path without you having to perform. Because aligned energy speaks louder than effort. And Leo, you've been speaking in energy for a long time now. Even in the silence. Even in the waiting. So as the month draws to a close, I invite you to make space not just physically, but emotionally, energetically, spiritually for the unexpected. Let it come how it wants to come. Let it surprise you. Let it restore something in you that maybe you forgot was even missing. And if you feel this message reaching into something deep within you, say it out loud or write it down somewhere you'll see it every day. I am not chasing what's mine. I am welcoming it. Let this be the tone you carry through your day. Let this be the energy you walk with into your next decision, your next conversation, your next quiet morning. Because this isn't about deserving or destiny. It's about resonance. And your field is finally clear. The signal is out there. And life is already responding. If you've ever felt like you were too late, too far behind, or too overlooked, let this be your confirmation. You were never behind. You were simply becoming the version of yourself that could hold the kind of abundance that doesn't just visit, it stays. Let it stay. Let it build. Let it bless. You don't need to catch luck, Leo. You are the place where it lands. Leo, you weren't born to ask for permission to shine. You were born already carrying the light. And maybe for a long time, life made you feel like you had to earn your worth. Like you had to prove your value through struggle, or chase approval in order to receive. But that story ends here. Because what you've built internally through patience, through grace, through quiet evolution is finally being mirrored back to you. Right now, your finances, your love life, your sense of purpose, even your health. They're all stepping into a reset. Not because you're broken, but because you're ready. And the space you call home? That's not just where you sleep, it's where this next chapter is about to land. It's the first place the universe sends its energy when you say, I'm open now. I'm available for more. So if your heart feels even a little cracked open right now, if a part of you feels seen, understood, or strangely steady, then I invite you to take a moment and anchor that knowing. Type 777 in the comments as a declaration. Not for me. Not for anyone else. But for the part of you that's been waiting to say, I've heard the call. I'm ready. And if someone you love is walking a similar path, standing on the edge of a transformation they can't quite name yet, share this video with them. Be the sign they didn't know they needed. I want to thank you truly for being here. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, you're not just supporting a channel. You're nurturing a sacred space. One that's designed to guide you back to your own clarity, your own rhythm, your own power. So if this message spoke to something deep within you, don't just scroll on. Take the next quiet step. Like the video to affirm this energy. Subscribe so you don't miss what's meant for you next. Leave a comment to make this moment real. And pass it on to someone whose spirit you trust. You don't need to wait for a new year, a perfect plan, or anyone else's approval. The moment is now. The shift is already happening. And it doesn't require urgency, it only asks for presence. So take a deep breath. Come home to yourself. And walk into the final days of September not as someone hoping to be lucky, but as someone who already knows they've become the magnet. Because you, Leo, are not chasing abundance. You are the place where abundance belongs. And I couldn't be more honored to walk this part of the journey with you.